Hello to my dear friends. Dana here, otherwise known as Dana Spirit Butterfly. Today, this is a video I'm recording to celebrate the next moon cycle. The next moon cycle's already begun, so I'm recording this on the 28th of February in Australia, acknowledging that right now I'm on Bunjalung country, so paying my respects to the elders and custodians, past, present, and emerging. As I acknowledge the land spirit here, very important for us to do whenever you're doing spiritual practice or any guidance, asking a higher consciousness for any guidance. It is actually a really great practice to commune with the earth first. After, of course, you've honored yourself. And honoring yourself is something, if I just said that and you just suddenly got a little bit stuck in yourself, the process of healing requires us to acknowledge ourselves and to be in a dialogue that honors the true you. And when I use the term the true you, so few of us create space and allow time for us to create acknowledgement for ourselves and for our patterns, for our experiences, for the things that move through us. And acknowledgement actually is a superpower I've come to understand. The more you spend presently acknowledging what's moving through you, understanding that all life offers you an experience that, if you show up to it, has a whole lot of education and support that comes as a result of moving that energy. If you're willing to own yourself and own your thoughts and own your emotions and name these things as real and true for you, then you evolve. And from that evolution comes the life that so many of us desire. And when I land on that, I just want to acknowledge desire in itself has a mixed response with a lot of people. So many people, when I say to you, if I were to read for you, for example, and the spirit oneness inspired me to ask you what your relationship with desire is, again, we would get a mixed response, and many people would have an idea about what that would be. Some of you would not be able to answer the question, which is really unfortunate. But also, this is a dialogue that is required if we are here to live a satisfying and fulfilling life. Without desire and desires being fulfilled, there is no happy life, no real, authentic, happy life. And that's not to mean that all of your lofty ideas of what it is that you want for yourself, and I don't know about you, but I have pictures in my head of having a really beautiful seaside mansion where I have heaps of space and maybe a room to do all different things, a dancing room and a music room and a writing room and a spiritual temple, all of these things in the space. The dream in itself is important to have because it actually reflects parts of me that are seeking acknowledgement. And without that acknowledgement, I can't head towards things that are more likely to satisfy those desires. When I say that, often when people have unmet desires, it actually triggers inside of them concerns about parts of them, maybe needs that aren't getting met. And with a lot of clients, I hear them say something along the lines of, I'm tired of being in survival. I'm tired of always having to look at my personal economy, at making sure that I have enough money in the bank, at making sure that, my room is sealed and protected and I have the space for what I need to do. All of these are dialogues that in themselves warrant acknowledgement, but also a journey of deeper exploration around what it is that you're maybe thinking, sensing, feeling, and what your past stories are, your history is with these particular things. Without that, again, there's no evolution. The life that you're living in now that may be creating pain and suffering for you or reflecting pain and suffering for you externally, internally, all types under the sun. This pain in itself is telling you that there's something not quite right, something not quite aligned either with your psyche, so your psychic senses, your psyche, which is why we do psychic development work, your well-being, your sense of, I actually feel good here, and also just your body generally. And these things are necessary to thrive in life. And if you don't have some awareness of how you need to meet these needs, these very fundamental survival-based needs, then you will be struggling. And this is especially true as Spirit is reminding me. The next cycle will call you into some accountability. It will ask you to be much more deliberate in what you're doing. Why? Because we're heading into a full moon in Virgo, and the Virgo energy, often associated with the Virgin, is this idea of purity, this idea of things being in the right place at right time, at exactly when you're needing it, with absolutely nothing out of place. People who have a solar sign in Virgo tend to be very particular about what they like, and they also tend to desire things to be in the right place. So they're great at administration, they're also great at managing finances and all of these kinds of things. The fact that there's a full moon in Virgo, that's also leading into an equinox, a Mercury retrograde, and the full moon is also a total lunar eclipse, guarantees that this cycle is going to be quite a massive one for those of you who are awake and are open to the dialogue that's inside of you. And when I say that, it is true that when you first start spiritual development, when you first start meditation, there is a bit of a payoff. The calm and the presence that you feel, that you experience as you start to drop more fully into yourself, will begin to highlight things that don't feel quite right for you. This is what happens when we go from a numbed out, dumbed down, sensorily limited perspective, and we start to step into something that's broadening the perspective, that's creating a greater awareness of what's going on. You will feel things like grief. You will feel things like sadness. There will be a part of you that starts to remember some of the things that happened in the experience of that you've had in the past, that is still getting stuck, that is still cycling, moving forwards. And so these things, they talk about your process of evolution. They're not about you being wrong, bad, or needing to be punished or somehow not being worthy. They may talk, though, about your inability to be present with you and to honor the being that you are and the stories that you carry. As we move forwards through the lunar eclipse, which I don't know about you, but Spirit's just reminding me, I've been seeing on social media a lot that people are talking about this 8 planets in alignment. And, we've had a lot of planetary alignments that have been kind of similar to this across the last 12 months. It's not common exactly, because it doesn't happen that often, these types of alignments with this amount of level. But, I just heard the term leveling up. A lot of these alignments are signifiers that the planet is going through a shift and a change, quite a major one. It is evidenced by the volume of conflicts that we're seeing in, the Middle East and in Israel and also in the States. These, of course, are not the limited places where all of these conflicts happen. They are around the world. They are everywhere. But at the moment where they're not is where you are when you sit in personal private practice. And so when you're there, it is the time for you to detach from the conflicts and to start to own your patch of land, where you lie, where you are, and what it is that you have to do in order to improve the environment that you're in. And a lot of that starts with you, deeply presently with you. And so with that, I'm going to slowly wrap this video up. We didn't want to do a long video today for this particular energy forecast, mostly to flag a few of these movements. My deepest desire is that you start to show up to spirit practice in a way that is contained and held and is available to provide you with support as you journey forwards. Most people, particularly if they're going through some psyche, instability and distress, what they really need are tools. They need tools that are supportive and tools that hold them accountable to their experience so that they're not ignoring their feelings, while also giving them some sacredness to their experience so that they're not accidentally leaking out into the face of other people who do not have the skills to hold you sensitively and safely. And at the moment, there's not a lot of people who can hold us sensitively and safely as we journey with our deeper dialogue. This is just a fact. It's just the modern environment. At the moment, there are energies that are pulling us outwards so that we're in the attention streams of everybody else. And there, you know what? I don't feel my problems there, but it doesn't mean that I get to opt out of responsibility to own my dialogue. With that, I have a Rose initiation program. It's starting again, the 5-week container to support you to drop into your sense feeling and to start some of these dialogues for you in a responsible way. We have the plant spirit of Rose alongside. It starts on the 24th of March. And so please consider signing up before that. You can read more about that on my Patreon page. Also, I'd like to flag that I am about to journey to Sydney and Melbourne. I'm only moving through Sydney on the way to Melbourne because Melbourne is my old home patch and I have sentimental attachment to bringing some of this work there. I'd love to see you. I'm planning to do a workshop, possibly two, depending on what's moving through us collectively. I would like to do some psychic development there and some soul work to help you, to help us, we collectively through you, move some of this deeper heaviness that everybody's feeling and to liberate your sense feeling, to move into that deeper sense of desire, that deeper part of you that's calling on you to become particular things in particular ways that are harmonious with your system, that assists you with nervous system regulation so that you feel like you're actually contributing to this greater consciousness that actually has a lot of beauty and magic and magnificence attached to it. This journey of life, it's uncomfortable for all of us, but there's also so much beauty, so much passion, and so much love to reveal and to become. And so I invite you into my containers. Please reach out if you're in Melbourne or Sydney and you're considering having an in-person session or you'd like to do some psychic development with me into across April. I'll be in Sydney at the end of March, actually, so please reach out before then. I'll also be back here in the Northern Rivers and offering more in-person sessions, but also I'd like to build a collective group here in the Northern Rivers. I feel like it's time now. In May, I'll be starting to open up some workshops and psychic development in-person sessions, and that is something that I'm excited about. The last thing I just want to flag with you, please, if you don't do anything else with moon cycles or energy alignment, please remember the turn of the seasons don't actually happen when it is that the Gregorian calendar has it stipulated. The turn of the seasons tends to follow the equinox and solstices evolution. And so being of Anglo-Celtic origins myself, also a bit of Germanic tribe in there. But the journey with the seasons is actually how to realign our DNA, our fundamental truths, our deeper remembering of ancestry and our inheritance comes from some of these deeper dialogues. And they can be activated when you start to pay attention to the equinox, for example, that happens on the 20th of March. So also, before I finish, that 20th of March also happens to align with Embodying Psychedelia. This is a festival in Tamborine Mountains in Queensland. So that would be near the Gold Coast. I'm involved in that as a workshop facilitator. I'm facilitating a workshop called Intentional Attunement to the Spirit Realms with my close dear friend Eliza Kendall, who's also a spirit medium, and we're offering that to you at the Embodying Psychedelia Festival. I also have a whole lot of friends there who are worthy of sitting with and learning more about their work. They're compassionate human beings with a lot to offer the world, and they all do their best to help you find that deeper truth for yourself so that you feel safer and much better in your own energy system. And so with that, if you'd like to see some more details, please check down the video down the bottom. I'll leave some links, but it would be my dearest pleasure if you would sign up to my Patreon membership. There's a free one and also the tiered ones that have all the education attached to it. You can find that via www.patreon, which is patreon.com/Dana Spirit Butterfly. And so with that, have an amazing next lunar cycle. I hope to see you soon. Please reach out for a session. I'd love to read for you personally. All right, bye.